What's up, YouTube? And you know I'm gonna have to do a comparison video every once in a while. Well, the reason these are up for comparison is real simple. When I went to the knife store, I was looking through all their cabinets, all the different knives that they had, and these two caught my attention more than any other knives in their case. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why. But first, let's go ahead and discuss these knives. Give some basic information on them. Okay, I'm going to start with the Benchmade here. This, as many of you know, is the Benchmade Rift. Benchmade Rift is 8.3 inches long, blade length, 3.7 inches. It's actually a reverse Tanto style blade. It's a B-blast finish. Mine has been getting used. I've been carrying it with me. That's what I carried today. Anyways, steel's 154 cm. Probably zoom in on that. 154 cm. And the weight on this knife, they claim, is 4.8 ounces. Now, on my scale, I came up with 4.73 ounces. And there's no milling of the liner or anything. So I don't know, maybe it's a little lighter than they're giving it credit. The lock on the knife is the access lock. One of my favorite features about the knife. And the reason for that is the ease of opening and closing the knife. I mean, it opens like butter, and you can close it just as fast, you know. It's kind of an angle. Also, you know, if for any reason you wanted to, you pull this lock, which is called the access lock. Pull it and you can pop the knife out. If you hold it down, the knife doesn't lock. But if you pull it down just a second, flip it closed, it stays closed. So it's a nice feature. Yeah. In slow motion you can see. I love this knife. It's a really, really good knife. Anyways, it's got the dual thumb studs, which I like. They're a little bit different than most other thumb studs. They got like a gear pattern to them, or like a, I don't know, hex pattern. It's got layered G10 scales. Now, this is one of my other favorite features about the knife, is the layered G10 scales. These things are sweet. It's got the gray and black layer, and they milled it. I mean, I've done some milling. Yeah. I've done a little bit, you know, not as good as some of these other guys, because I just, you know, was messing around, but I'm sure with practice I could do a little better. But I mean, they really went out there and did a good job with this Benchmade. This is the 950, by the way. I don't know if I forgot to mention that. You can see right there. Love this knife. Anyways, let's move on. The knife in comparison today, my ZTO 550. And you guys have seen the videos I've put up. I made scale for it. There's a couple scales for it. And you know, it's one of these knives that you gotta compare it to others, because it sets the bar for a lot of things. And let me go ahead and get started. This is what I mean with that. Right off the bat, you can see this knife has jimping, which in my opinion is one of the things you need to have on a knife. Jimping will make the difference between being able to work with the knife and just carrying the knife to use. You know, I mean, being able to do work with it, you gotta have control. That's the one thing that the Benchmade doesn't have, is that jimping. Anyways, this knife, overall length 8.1 inches. It's just a little bit shorter than the Rift. But I mean, it's real close. That's why I wanted to compare these two. The blade is 3.5 inch, and actually it's flat ground up to right here, and the tip, I don't know if you can see it like this, but the tip gets wider. You know, as it goes out, and I mean, that's really something. I saw that, I was like, dang, that's cool. It's a nice fat blade, you know, do anything with it, not worry about breaking it. But anyways, let's move on. The steel on this knife is S35 VN, which is supposedly the replacement for the S30V steel. And we all know how much that stuff is just amazing, and how well it works, and how well you can sharpen it, and how, the kind of edge that it takes. Anyways, the designer of this knife is Rick Hinderer, and you can probably tell it's real similar to like the Kershaw Cryo blade shape. We have on this knife we have an excellent frame lock. Excellent frame lock. I mean, we're talking titanium frame. It's also got the little stop pin there to keep from overextending the lock. That's nice. Lockup on this thing is ridiculous. It is a little hard to open from time to time. It is a little stiff knife. I mean, especially after I did the scales, it stiffened up quite a bit. You know, I mean, I had to though. I mean, look at the original scales. These things are just the only downfall on the knife that I saw when I bought it was, wow, the fucking scales suck. I have got to change those. And I looked online, they want 95 bucks for a piece of G10 that's put in the machine, and no, screw that. So I went ahead and got me some G10 scales and pulled out my Dremel kit, and I messed around, and I had a good time doing it. And I've made other knives that look pretty cool. So that's that. Anyways, before this video ends here, and I go into some other testing of the knives, I'm going to do outside work on these. You're going to see me outside, you know, cutting into shit, working them. They're my knives, so I don't mind. But let's go ahead and get the cut test, and these have both been really well maintained, and I haven't really put them to hard use, but let's see how they cut. S35 VN steel. Amazing, even for such a fat blade. Amazing sharpness. Yeah, I left you in pieces, brother. And the Benchmade. Much thinner blade to start out with. Oh man, it's just like, it is butter. That is definitely taking the edge in the edge category. Let's compare the edges. See if I can get a close up here. Anyways, we'll see you outside. Hey guys, I got the Benchmade. I'm gonna do a bottle cutting test. See how it does on a water bottle. Here we go. Okay. Pretty good. Woo. Look at this. Straight through. Like butter, man. Like butter. Alright, ZT fans. It's time for ZT to come into the action here. Oh, 550. Here we go. Yeah. That was dead sexy right there. Look at this shit. You saw it. I think it wins the cut test for the bottle. A little bit of inertia behind the blade might make the difference. A little bit of weight. I don't know. Next we're going to do cutting agility, but we're going to cut up a soccer ball, see how well it does. The reason we're cutting this soccer ball up is because it doesn't hold air. So, here we go. This is the ZT, by the way. ZT. Benchmade. That was pretty easy. Yeah. That's canvas. See on the inside. That's canvas right there. Well, he might want me to join him. And those are the two knives. Cutting endurance. CT. This is oak. This is ZT. Now for the Benchmade. I'm like the slicing. I mean, there's your kindling. These tips are so strong, man. Look at the fucking tips on these knives. There we go. Look at that. Well, it's funny, the Benchmade's actually got a wider tip. You wouldn't think, because of how it's such a full flat ground blade. They're gonna need some cleaning. Dude, there's no, I mean, there's very tiny bit of side-to-side blade play on the Benchmade. No up and down, no up front and back at all. The ZT, fuck. You'd be hard pressed to find any blade play in any direction. This is just a freaking hardcore, like, hard knife. Stabbing test. Let me get on the other side here. Here we go. That's pretty decent. Stabbing test. I'll tell you, the lack of jimping isn't giving me any problem with forcing that knife in there at all. Yeah, that's decent. You didn't really think I was going to let that wussy little styrofoam box be the only stabbing test, did you? How about some cardboard? Let's try the Benchmade. You know what? That was interesting. I'm going to show you why. Okay. Here's the ZT side. It's getting adequate puncture wounds, but once I got into the inner part of the cardboard, it wasn't going all the way through. I think because of the really fat blade on it. Maybe the way it's cut, I don't know. But, as you notice with the Benchmade, I kind of went in like butter. Not only did I go in like butter, but it's all the way through, man. All the way through. Look at this cardboard. All the way through. Yeah. I'd say Benchmade got the stabbing test. It definitely beat the ZT. Alright, so we had a lot of cut tests. Back to the table. And I'm going to go ahead and see how they do on the paper cut test. After all that outside wear and tear that we just got done putting it through. No, I did not touch up the blades. I did not do any sharpening or stropping of any kind, so here we go. Oop. A little pull on that one. This is the ZT. It's still pretty sharp. S35V on steel. Alright, now let's move on to the Benchmade, of course. See how the 154 CM stood up to all that abuse. Oop. I don't know. I do feel a slight bit more resistance than I did in the pull on the paper. I feel a little more resistance. In the first test, it was like butter. I didn't even feel it. But that was definitely, could feel it a little bit more. So I might have to touch this one up a little bit. Alright guys, so here's what I'm coming up with. If I'm going to give it the edge, then I have to be completely honest about a few things. On one hand, the ZT is a much heavier knife with a slightly thicker blade. On the other hand, which would have no trouble standing up to a lot of abuse. The 154 CM is good steel, no doubt, but the S35V steel took the same beating and came out just as sharp when it went in. In a variety of tests I did, I found the winners to be as follows. For the paper cut test, I give the edge to Benchmade. Now, I'm sure you can understand why. I mean, the blade is, when it's fully sharp, it is a very, very sharp blade. For the water bottle test, I give the win to ZT all the way. Maybe thicker, but the weight behind the blade made it really easy to cut through the bottle with next to no wrist impact. Benchmade, on the other hand, is a bit hard on the wrist. I mean, it really is. The blade's not as heavy, and you know, it's got some sharper edges. So the hand and the wrist, I mean, because when you're hitting something with a lighter blade, you're taking more of the impact in your wrist, as opposed to a heavier blade. You get a lot of weight right there. Your wrist doesn't take a lot of impact, you know, depending on how heavy, obviously. For the soccer ball test, well, I also gave the edge to ZT. I feel as if, you know, the grip is a more certain one, and I was able to muscle the blade through with very little hand fatigue. The Benchmade also did really well on this test, but the grip makes this type of cutting work very painful after a while. I mean, it really isn't meant for a bushcraft type of work. I mean, these are some sharp G10 scales. I mean, even after I sanded them down. For the log shaving test, I gave the edge to Benchmade. And I mean, you saw the test. You were able to see the Rift's thinner blade makes the outer layers of the wood just fly off like butter. I mean, the ZT, on the other hand, the blade's so thick that, you know, I had to force every stroke through the log. I really did. Thinner blade, better for hardwood, you know, that kind of stuff. The stabbing test. Well, the stabbing test I gave the edge to Benchmade. The Rift made very easy work of my targets, and I punched through the cardboard like paper. I mean, the grip gave no resistance, and the lightweight made it easy to thrust faster at different angles, and able to maneuver the knife quicker because it's a little lighter. So yeah, I liked how it turned out. I really did a good job on that cardboard tube. Final test was the edge retention test. Now, after that short bit of abuse that I did to the knives today, only one knife showed the slightest bit of edge loss. I mean, the slightest bit. I mean, hardly able to tell at all. You saw the final cut test. It had a little more pull than the original cut test. Where the ZT, it performed exactly like it did during its first cut test. I don't think I lost one bit of my edge during my testing. I mean, this S35 VN steel is no joke. I mean, it holds an edge, and there's no telling how much abuse I can throw at it before it needs touch up. So that's my formal review on these knives. I went to this knife shop, a couple $100 in my pocket, burning a hole, and I wanted to get the best knife for that money. And I came down to these two blades. I mean, I came down for the same price, between them. Which one should I go for? And originally what I did was I bought the ZT. And I had dreams about this knife. Why didn't I buy the Benchmade? Why didn't I get it? The access lock. I want that access lock, But a couple weeks later I went back with some more money, and I settled that. No more dreams. No more nightmares. And I'm happy with them. I don't think I'm ever going to change the scales on this. That's just, as much as it is rough, those are just badass scales. They really are. And the lightweight is a nice feature. I like to have a little more weight in my hand, and more ability to, throw some of that weight into my attack, or into my task, for that matter. So, that's my review, and stay tuned for some more. I'm always coming back with more knives, you guys know that.